Hello and welcome back to the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast. My name is Michael Crosa with Chattanooga Podcast Studios. I'm here with Elaine Zambos, Director of BNI Southeast Tennessee. Elaine, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about why it's important to be specific.
All right. This episode of the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast is brought to you by Webive Digital Marketing. Do you need more sales and calls? I know you do. So Anton, Donnie, and America at Webive are the experts in local SEO, Google Business Optimization, and web design. An ideal referral for them would be a business owner who wants to take their online visibility up to the next level. So be sure to check the link in the show notes below or just go over to webive.com to see how they can help. Be specific. Be specific. Okay, tell me more. What do you got?
So, Michael, I'm sure you've been to Starbucks, right?
A few times.
So what would happen if you walked into Starbucks and you looked at the barista and you said, I would like a cup of coffee?
You'd say, well, what do you want? What kind?
The barista's head would probably pop off, right? Like, what are you talking about? A cup of coffee, right? Because at Starbucks, you don't just order a cup of coffee. If you do, right, they're going to ask, well, do you want the Pikes Peak or
the dark roast, the light roast, the drip, roast. The whatever. Yeah, exactly. What size?
Exactly. Yeah. Or, no, I'll have a latte. Okay. Soy milk, almond milk, whole milk, skim milk, right? Yeah. Like all this stuff. Or if you order, one of the frou-frou drinks, do you want the whipped cream or the chocolate syrup or the caramel or right? So all this stuff. Why do they do that?
Well, because you didn't give them enough information.
Right. They want you to have exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Right? That's why. And so that you have to be specific when we go to Starbucks. And we have no problem rattling off, I want a tall Pikes Peak with skim milk. Right? We have no problem rattling that off.
Yeah.
So why is it when we're asking for business?
Because it's hard.
How is it hard? Like you're telling me you're more familiar with your cup of coffee than you are with your business?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think because that is something that's hard for me because the ask is hard. Sales is hard. And I love that you're rolling your eyes.
There's a whole new episode on head trash. Head trash, man. Head trash.
That's great. Okay, we'll do an episode on that. But yeah, no, I think being specific is hard because, I know what my business does, right? I mean, so I guess just send me people who want a podcast or something, right?
So you want all these people to go to you for all your features.
Ooh, I need to go back 2 episodes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do
it. We both have our cell phones, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many contacts I have, but
Same.
It's a lot.
Overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. Every contact in that phone has a name attached to it.
Yeah.
Now, some of them have first names, some of them have first and last names, some of them have the business, some of them have their birthdays, right?
Right.
But bottom line, every contact has a name. Yeah. There's not one contact in my phone that's named anybody, everybody, or somebody. Right?
Yeah.
And so when people go to ask for a referral and they say, I want to talk to anybody you know, that's nobody.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anybody. right? My phone only knows people. Yeah. I have contacts, right?
Right.
But if you come in and you say, I want, like you were just talking about meeting people with associations.
Yeah. Like
right?
National associations.
National associations, right? That's being specific. Mm-hmm. But even being more specific might be, I want to meet
the marketing team.
Okay. The marketing team of a national. But to give us a specific association that you're looking for.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So maybe you want to meet the, somebody at the Greater Chattanooga Real Estate, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right, that's a pretty big one.
Specific.
Right, that's being specific.
Yeah.
Or I want to meet the Home Builders Association.
Yeah.
Or I want to meet, the Building and Manufacturers Association.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so then you're being very specific about the associations. What would even make it better is if you did your research and you knew who the directors were of each of those associations and asked for that person specifically.
Yeah, because that might be in your phone.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And so, and because here's the thing, even though you're asking, let's say you're asking for, building and manufacturers association, and I'm thinking, I don't know anybody at the building manufacturers association. That's just not my jam, right?
Yeah.
But if you knew but you say the executive director's name, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I know her.
She's in my exercise class.
Right. I didn't know that that's what she did, but I know her, right? So that's why you do it. And I think a lot of times that the reason people aren't specific, I think it's two reasons. One, they're just not prepared to know exactly what they want for their business. And I'm sure people right now are a little bit mad that I just said that. But just doing the homework to know exactly who it is you want to do business with, number one. And then secondly, people will be like, well, wait a minute. I don't want to be that specific because if I am, and I may not get any referrals because nobody knows that person. No, but here's the thing. If you're asked for, again, think of this. I want to talk to the Teachers Association. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, Michael, you know what? I don't know anybody at the Teachers Association, but I know somebody at the Speakers Bureau. Would that be a good referral?
Yeah.
Right? So it's, again, being that specific sparks ideas in people's head. Like, I may not know that person, but I do know this person.
Right.
Right? And so the more specific we can be, the better. And so there's two types of ways of being specific. One is, narrowing it down to the name of the customer that you're, like the name of the company and the person. That's one way to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's where you're going to get a specific, a one-time transactional referral. Another way to do it, though, is to ask for a referral source. So a difference between that and a referral, right? So a referral source. So a referral source is who knows the people that you need to know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who are the people that know? So let's say, pick the industry. Let's just say it's
well, you used teachers earlier, and I've got one on that.
Okay.
So if the ask was about, a teachers association or something like that, did you know that, and this is true, I'm not making another stuff for the podcast, the secretary for the Tennessee State PTA Association is in our chapter?
I didn't know that was her position. I knew she had something to do with the PTA. That's awesome. So there you go.
Exactly. And when the first she had been talking about PTA, I just thought she meant at the school. No, it's state.
Yeah. So there you go.
So you got that's the kind of thing.
That's exactly the kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. But let's say that. For instance, we have a new guy in our chapter who is a roofer. Right.
Yeah.
He puts roofs on houses.
Yeah.
And so instead of asking for a roof, like you see a roof that's streaked or you see a roof that has a tarp on it, call me. Okay, that's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
Right? But what about that referral source? What if he had a relationship with 10 insurance agents? 10. And he asked for these 10 people, and he wants to have a relationship with these 10 different people. Like, I want to meet insurance agents. It may not be business today, but those agents every week, every month have problems with a roof.
Yeah.
And they got it. They're the first person to recommend a roofer for them.
Right.
Right? So looking for that referral source. So those different insurance companies could be the golden goose for our roofer. Yeah. So like every time somebody calls in with a problem with a roof, they call Max.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the other way to be specific, is saying, I want this industry. And maybe he starts off with, pick it. I want to meet any farmer's agent,
Yeah. Which happens to be the PTA secretary.
I know, right? I use that. Hi, Heather. Easy. Hi, Heather.
Yeah.
Shout out. Or, maybe the next week he asks for State Farm.
Right.
So you see where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so important to be specific, because if you go into your chapter and you say, I want to meet somebody that wants to do a podcast, that's like walking into Starbucks and saying, I'd like a cup of coffee.
There it is.
So that's why we need to be specific. Be specific. Be specific.
Yeah.
But my dear friend Christine always says specific is terrific, and it's right. And we actually have the chapter culture in one of our chapters that if they're not specific with their referral ask, the chapter goes, that's not specific. And then
Really?
yes. Yeah,
What
that's
chapter is that?
The gold standard chapter.
Okay, I won't go. Just kidding. I will. I should.
But yeah, they'll say specific is terrific, and they have to redo their 60-second.
That's good. That's accountability, right?
Yeah, and that's
what that
the
is.
culture in the
And
chapter.
I like the ones too that like ring the bell or whatever when there's closed business. Yeah, that's cool. This podcast is produced by Chattanooga Podcast Studios, helping businesses and organizations make a deeper connection with their audience through the art of podcasting. An ideal referral for me would be a professional organization with a state or national presence. You can get in touch with me, Michael Crosa, by going to chatpod.com. That's chat with 2 T's, like Chattanooga, which is linked in the show notes below. Well, Elaine, thank you so much. This has been a great episode of the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast. If you like what you heard, please be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, whatever it is that you listen to music or podcasts on. Tell your friends, tell your chapters, stick around. Yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode. But first, Elaine, you know I'm a new dad.
Yes.
And I like dad jokes. So why do bees always have sticky hair?
I don't know.
Because they use a honeycomb. All right.
Hey, yeah.
Thanks so much. We'll see you next week on the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast.